Well, having such a wonderful voice is what makes you who you are. After all, that was how you were designed. But the problem is, when people talk about the heart, it's more wordplay than anything. The heart refers to emotion. It's the mind.
And welcome to another episode of the Leo podcast. A little bit of a different episode, actually. My name is Josh, and we usually come to you each week and making that intersection between faith and animation, which we'll do a little bit of, but mostly we'll be talking about a very big, somewhat heated, but very interesting topic that has made the news and is still making the news ever since early 2023. And that is, of course, AI, or for those of you who don't like abbreviations, artificial intelligence. With the expansion of ChatGPT, with now involving AI models such as DALL-E for image generation, and also employing its new advanced voice models that now evoke emotion, we're going to ask ourselves the questions this episode and put our primary focus on how far are we going to take AI, and at one point will AI become sentient? And joining me now is my non-expert, because we're both not experts on this, it's Rebecca.
Hello.
So we both have used AI extensively, or one of us has. I've been making like images with DALL-E because I have the ChatGPT Plus subscription. But you've been asking a few things here. What was in your experience with ChatGPT and other AI models?
Yeah, so I've been using ChatGPT and Copilot as just like, I don't know, to make what I write sound better or come up with ideas that I'm like, I know I could think of this on my own, but I need somebody else to like start the creative process. And so I'll ask ChatGPT, like I've had a thought for starting a channel on, just sort of like calming scriptures, basically. And so I typed in, hey, what are some examples of, names for a title of a YouTube channel that would be like cozy and inviting and warm. And then it gave me a full list. And I was like, ooh, I like those. Can we go in the direction maybe of some, so I just like, we collaborated with the AI. And that's how I've really been using it, is collaboration rather than just completely creating something on its own. Although I will say I had to help someone write a handbook for their company, like an employee handbook. And I pretty much exclusively used ChatGPT to help me write that. And it was so helpful. I mean, ultimately I had to have somebody else go through and like rework everything and put it in the right format so that it all fit together. But it did a pretty good job of the different sections of that. So yeah, I mean, that's mainly other than creating images. So Microsoft Teams uses Copilot because that's what Microsoft is. Microsoft uses Copilot. And what's really neat is for Teams, when you do an announcement, you can create a banner and it'll generate an image with whatever title you said you wanted on there. So that is super helpful. So now I don't have to do it all myself. It's just like one less step when I'm posting about an upcoming employee event or something like that. So yeah, it's been very, very supportive. I also use it to find relevant Bible verses when I'm writing papers and doing my own personal Bible study. Just like, hey, I need a verse about fear or whatever. Can you give me a list of these things? And it'll go through and it'll give me a list. And so that's been really, really helpful.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think we both have been using it in collaboration. Especially in full disclosure, we use AI with this with Analuia, not to do everything for us, but it is helpful in getting what I want to say out in a better fashion. Basically, if you've read any of the blog posts, they do go through some form of AI enhancement.
Like an
Now,
editing,
like an editing
like
thing,
you write what you want to
right?
say.
Right, yeah,
And then you go, all right, there are some parts of this that I
right,
know just don't sound as good as I need it to be. I did that
right.
today actually with an email to someone. I was like, I know I'm getting my general thoughts out, but like it just doesn't sound as polished as I want it to.
Right.
So I put it through ChatGPT, and that's what you do with our blog.
Yeah, essentially we're using it like granularly, so making things sound better and catching like things that may not be in the best place, maybe switch it around. Now all the images that I generate are are from Dolly from ChatGPT 4, the newest model. Just because neither of us are graphic designers. Well, Rebecca is a painter, but aside from that, we are not graphic design artists. So,
I mean, I can do it,
yeah,
but I'm
I mean,
certainly not an expert. But yeah, so this whole conversation really started though because you were bringing up, you said Dolly
yeah.
is the new, yeah. Because Dolly and her upgraded emotional intelligence.
Well, no. So it's still ChatGPT 4.0. It is Dolly is like just mainly the image generative AI.
See, yeah, I don't use it. So whatever the voice part of ChatGPT is.
That's within ChatGPT for itself.
You have named her Val, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Josh has named her Val, and she's like, "Yes, Josh, how can I help you?" But we were going through and asking Val questions and getting her responses, and Josh was putting the ChatGPT through all kinds of crazy tests, which I was like, okay, that's a bit much, Josh. I don't understand. He was like, we all need to be pushed to our limits.
Yeah, limits are made to be broken.
So as we were talking about this, though, because I mean, what we were asking her to do was provide that like emotional piece into her conversation. Like, okay, sound like you're really worried, really scared. And she was able to do it.
Yeah, so ChatGPT with that advanced voice language model now can evoke emotion, which is something that I wasn't able to do, at least to our knowledge, just a few months ago, when OpenAI was premiering their new ChatGPT software, their newest updated model. I know there was supposed to be ChatGPT Vision. I think that's only rolled out to a certain percent of the population. It's not widely accessible yet, but essentially the same thing is you can
get access to your
camera, and you can ask it questions about the setting, just like if you were to upload a photo and ask it to analyze the photo.
That is really interesting. I wonder what that would even do for people who are deaf, and using sign language and that camera to do sign language to communicate.
Yeah, that's certainly a possibility. It's certainly in the realm.
Yeah, and then even using AI like that to communicate with people. I'm thinking specifically there was a candidate that I talked to, or attempted to talk to anyway, for my job. And turns out she had a hearing disability. So she was deaf. And she was using a service that was humans who would do a video chat with her. And then they would answer on the phone with me. They would have said, told me what she was saying, basically. So we could go back and forth, and they would do the sign language for her, which is a really interesting service, like amazing service. But I just wonder, and I had a lot of problems though, even getting an interview with this person. because it was like every time I would call the service to try to like connect with her, she wouldn't be available or they wouldn't be available. And it was a lot. We ended up not being able to talk, unfortunately. However, but so anyway, I wonder if a more reliable source would be AI for her to be able to communicate, and people like her in the workforce. Like, how much more would that really assist them? There's some exciting prospects there.
Yeah, when I think about the different disabilities and how AI can, well, even in the medical field, like AI is making very new advancements, terrific advancements for different different ailments, I'll say. And all that kind of goes into like what we want to talk about today. First, we're going to do a reaction to some footage from Elon Musk. He's the leader in SpaceX, X, also formerly known as Twitter, and has just taken the AI infrastructure by storm. And he came out, well, of course, he's the owner of Tesla, so we've all seen those ugly Cybertrucks everywhere. That took like years to like come out from when they were originally pre-ordered. And self-driving cars, all for it. They had their advantages and disadvantages. But what we're going to react to now is a clip from the We Robot conference. There he is. It was nice.
Everyone's
nice
so excited.
Yeah.
Oh. How do you see out the back? Oh, wait, there's cameras in the car.
Yeah.
I forgot. It's so wild.
And I
so
think
this is the taxi?
Yeah,
is that right?
The taxi, yeah.
We Robot. Isn't he getting sued for that name, We Robot?
Yeah, well, it's not the company who made iRobot.
Yeah, right. Well, it's very similar. There's some serious techno music going on.
Oh, would you want it any other way?
Welcome to the We Robot Party.
Ooh,
it's not a conference. It's a party.
It's a party.
We have quite
not a conference.
I think you're gonna like it. As you can see, I just arrived in the Robotaxi, the Cybercab.
Yeah, it took them all like 5 seconds.
There's 20 more
a short trip.
That came from.
It's very short.
So they've been traveling. There's no people in them, as you can see. The car's just going by with no people.
I mean, that's pretty typical for Tesla.
Yeah.
Because you can call your car, your Tesla car,
50
to you in the parking lot.
fully autonomous cars here tonight.
Not for real, though.
So you'll see Model Ys and the Cybercab, all driverless. You'll be able to take a ride in the Cybercab. There's no steering wheel or pedals.
That's ambitious.
Yeah.
So I hope this goes well.
You hope.
I think the cost
that
of
face, that's not very reassuring.
transport will be so low that you can think of it like individualized mass transit. The average cost of a bus per mile for a city, not the ticket price because that is subsidized, but the average price is about $1 a mile. Whereas the cost of Cybercab, we think probably over time from the operating cost is probably going to be around 20 cents a mile.
20
and
cents?
Price, including taxes and everything else, probably ends up being 30 or 40 cents a mile. So, yes, and you will be able to buy one.
Everyone's so excited.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, it's full. $200,000.
We expect the cost to be below $30,000.
Oh, okay.
Which is impressive, actually.
We do expect actually to start fully autonomous unsupervised FSD in Texas and California next year.
Of course, all of the good states get it.
And
Why those specific states?
that's with the Model 3 and Model Y. And then we expect to be in production with the Cybercab, which is really highly optimized for autonomous transport in probably, well, I tend to be a little optimistic with timeframes. But in 2026. So, yeah. Before 2027, let me put it that way. When you get in, you'll see like it's really quite a wild experience to just be in a car with no steering wheel, no pedals, no controls, and it feels great. Something we're also doing is, and it's
a little bit scary to me,
is inductive charging. So the robotaxi has no plug. It just goes over the inductive charger and charges. So yeah, it's kind of how it should be.
What?
Oh, and
what is this showing?
also,
How to clean it?
I guess I still clean.
What happens if you need a
Okay,
vehicle
so this is
a bus?
the Robo bus, yeah.
Now those are cool.
The Robovan. The
Robovan
is
The what?
Robovan.
We're going to make this, and it's going to look like that. Now, can you
So that's
imagine
not
driving
actually
down
it.
the streets and you see this coming towards you? That'd be sick.
I mean, it's pretty sweet. Honestly, it looks a lot like the double-decker bus. I mean, a much more like futuristic
this can carry up
single.
to 20 people, and it can also transport goods. So you can configure it for goods transport within a city or transport of up to 20 people at a time. So this is going to...
It's exciting.
The Robovan is what's going to solve for high density. So if you want to take a sports team somewhere, or you're looking to really get the cost of travel down to, I don't know, 5-10 cents a mile, then you can use the Robovan. Some people call it the Robovan, but speaking of robots.
Oh, here it comes.
He's not a very exciting speaker, may I just say?
Our cars.
Everybody's eating it up.
Power electronics, the advanced motors, gearboxes, the software, the AI inference computer, it all actually applies to a humanoid robot. It's the same techniques. It's just a robot with arms and legs instead of a robot with wheels. And we've made a lot of progress with Optimus.
They're very slow.
And as you can see, we
these are probably
someone in a robot suit, sort of.
They're testing them out.
And we've progressed dramatically year after year. So if you extrapolate this, you're really going to have something spectacular, something that anyone could own. So you could have your own personal R2-D2 C-3PO. And I think
More so C3PO.
at scale, this would cost something like, I don't know, $20,000-$30,000. Probably less than a car, is my prediction long term. Now, it'll take us a minute to get to the long term, but
A minute. Probably more than that.
But fundamentally, at scale, the Optimus robot, you should be able to buy an Optimus robot for, I think, probably $20,000 to $30,000 long term. So,
Optimus like
what can it
Optimus
do? It
Prime?
can
No, autonomous.
Oh, autonomous. I
Like-
heard Optimus.
be a teacher, babysitter.
Transformers, AI in disguise.
Get the groceries, just be your friend, serve drinks, whatever you can think of, it will do. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think this will be the biggest product ever of any kind.
I mean, in the sense of AI, it's probably right. I mean,
it's a huge leap forward, certainly.
This is put it in the hands of everybody. I'm sure there are some restrictions that a Judy Jetson, or no, sorry, not a Judy, a Rosie that the Jetsons had. So we're getting more and more. And notice how I said autonomous.
Yeah, it's not like someone's controlling them.
Yeah, I'm sure there are limitations. I'm sure it's programmed because we're in the phase of generative AI, not general AI, but generative AI. I think when we get to that next step of AI, having their own thoughts and emotions, that's where we have to put regulations, which not everybody, but a lot of people are calling for. Like, hey, we gotta put the reins on this and make sure that there are ethical and humanitarian implications from all of this. Even though it's great, how do we use it responsibly?
Yeah, well, that's the huge question. I mean, over the past 5 years, really, I mean, that's been the main topic of conversation of, whoa, this is real.
Right.
We got to put some guidelines on this. We need some laws and rules, regulations. And I know there was a lot of talk a couple of years ago, particularly with Elon Musk and even Google and some of those other creators when when it really surged up and
Right.
became a topic of conversation. AI has been around for a long time. It's just how sophisticated has it been?
Correct.
And now we're getting to the point where it's like, oh, we're getting pretty sophisticated. We can start to see, actual like real futures that's only been in movies
Yeah.
like iRobot.
Right.
And like we've seen with even in different anime like
Yes.
Vivy.
Vivy. Vivy. Fluorite song.
Yep.
Which actually let's get on to that. Because that's the little piece of animation that we're talking about today. So this came out a few years ago, I think, or 2 or 3 years ago. And we started it, but we just didn't like really pick it up again. So we started rewatching it, and the main character, the other Vivy, is an autonomous AI who has been programmed with one purpose. Every AI in her race has been programmed with one purpose.
Yeah, they found that in this world that the AI performed better when they had one specific task.
Correct. And that's kind of like where we are now. Like AI is very task oriented.
Yeah. Or goal oriented, I guess is what they
Right.
are in Viv.
And so Viv's purpose or goal is to make everybody happy, and that is through her voice, through song. But then her life is kind of thrown upside down when she meets a robot.
He's a robot from the future.
Yeah, a robot from the future named Masamuto.
I'm glad you remembered his name because I didn't.
So Masamuto comes in and says, hey, there is going to be this, movement that takes place 100 years from now. It begins the war between people and AI, and people don't win.
Which is the scary part. Honestly, I'm pretty terrified of like AI trying to take over the world.
Well, it's like iRobot, where kind of like that, that happened, the apocalypse by AI. But Vid's main mission, though reluctant, in the early part of the series, is to prevent these key moments in history from happening.
Which is a really fascinating concept. Like you have a chance to change history, except Masamuto won't let her change a couple things that aren't important to the mission.
Like things that were like, hey, like spoiler, like there's a plane crash and a young
someone
girl
that's
dies.
really special to Viv.
Right.
That ends up dying.
Correct. And Masamuto says, well, it was just an accident. You can't change everything.
But if you know that it's coming.
I know. And
that's so hard.
There's the ethical and the sentient nature, I think, of AI that comes in as well. Again, at what point does AI become, like human, really?
Yeah, that was my main question when we brought all of this up, when we were talking to ChatGPT and the voice function, because she sounded so human.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, at what point does she become truly like a human? I mean, right now she's just emulating human emotion because she understands that that's what it sounds like when when you're distressed, this is what you sound like. But I mean, I don't know. The AI is generating these responses where I'll say like, wow, that was a really great answer. Thank you for providing this support. And like, wow, I'm so glad that you liked that response. Let me know if you need any help in the future. And it's like, oh, that's a very nice, pleasant thing to say. And I'm sure it's just programmed that way to
Yeah.
say that. But at the same time, like, do you feel glad? I don't know.
Exactly. And at this stage,
know.
with ChatGPT, at least from OpenAI, it is designed to be, friendly, safe for everybody to use. So, they can use it for like nefarious means within that confined structure of ChatGPT.
There's some crazy stories out there, though.
There are some crazy stories. But going down to like, bid and purpose, it calls into question, okay, you're only given one purpose. And we've brought this up a couple of times. As Christians, we have, one purpose, and that is to proclaim Jesus to the world. But I think we're also given other dreams and passions and purposes by our Creator to carry out. So we are just not doing the Great Commission 24/7.
Yeah, that's like part of who we are, but it's not what we're doing every single day, every second, all of that.
Right.
I think our real like purpose, like our one true purpose is to love God, to get to know him, spend time with him. And then I think that's really our one true purpose, because the more that we spend time with God, the more we get to know him, to read the scripture, to do all of those things, the more our little cup gets filled up. And when we have our cup overflowing, then it just spills out to other people. It's just like, it just becomes who we are. And so there's it's not necessarily any like striving, or like, it doesn't feel like work, if you will, to like share the gospel and do all of these things. I mean, sometimes it's difficult, but I think when we focus on that relationship with God, I think that it becomes much easier to do all of that. It's just kind of part of who you are.
Yeah. 100%. And relating this all back to, and again, we're just talking there briefly about Vivy. If you only have one purpose and you've been labeled to have that purpose, you don't get to choose. I can see why that resistance might have, come about.
Well, she doesn't seem to be resistant, though. She doesn't quite understand her purpose, because they gave her, if I'm being really honest, kind of a stupid purpose.
Well, it was very ambiguous. Was to make everybody happy.
Yeah. How was Vivy as an AI supposed to truly understand what it's like, or what it means to sing with all your heart?
Correct.
He doesn't have a heart.
Right. And that's what she asked the doctor.
Yeah.
When she's being checked out after a performance that she's given for a crowd, she asked, what does it mean to sing from the heart? And he said, well, that really comes to the mind and soul, something that, science, can't really explain. Basically saying, that's something that you have to, figure out for yourself. It means a lot of different things to different people. When you figure out an answer, come back to me.
So, yeah. And I guess in that way, she's not fully human, not fully like human-like. It's like something is just a bit odd. I mean, even when we got to episode 3, I think it was 3 or 4, something like that, where we go to the spaceship and we see, I forget her name, the girl with the blonde hair that's supposed to blow up the ship. And we're like, but she's so nice. Like everything is fine. And then at the very end, spoiler, something crazy happens. And you're like, oh gosh, I did not. So they can seem so normal and seem like they have emotional intelligence and act the part. But I don't know. This is obviously just an anime.
Yeah.
But it opens up interesting questions.
It does.
And the whole premise of Viv is to it had to do something. They're changing history because there was a war between humans and AI. And the very first guy that they end up saving in episode 2, I guess, 1 or 2, he was supposed to have died, and by saving him, and that like because he died, he became a martyr, and then legislation to be more peaceful, I guess, with the AI came about, and he didn't die though, and so I don't remember where I was going with that. But there was a point though.
Well, yeah, it started that chain reaction kind of like
Yes.
shifted.
Yeah, it did. So it's all about the relationship and rights, AI rights, because the AI started to have human rights. That's what they were pushing for. And so, I mean, it's like, well, what about in our world? Like, that's coming quicker than we think. I mean, at what point are they going to look like humans? And we say, and if they have the emotional intelligence and what seems like a very sentient being, do we give them human rights? I don't know. And where does that fit into God's plan? Is that then becoming like Babel, the Tower of Babel, where they were trying to get to God and like become gods? Like, are we creating things that we're not supposed to really be creating? Or is this just like, no, humans are really smart and this is fine? I don't know.
I mean, only time will tell, really. We've heard of the, AI creating its own Bible, AI creating its own religion. So, there are plausible things that could come about. And it reminds me of the game that I played about a year or so ago. Actually, when it first came out, because that's when I got the PlayStation 5, called Detroit Become Human. And that is all about AI and about the advancement, and AI are really seen from the setting of the game as aides or helpers to different family members, so the elderly, and also in positions of authority, being cops or detectives, stuff like that. And there's the race that's obedient and the race that they named as deviant.
So like 2 versions of AI.
Correct. And everybody starts out as obedient because that's how they've, been programmed and been designed. The deviance comes from, that autonomous thinking, that sentient being type of mentality that they break through. There's literally a scene where you can see one of the AI is like literally like breaking through the parameters that have been set, because though she's been told an order, ethically she knows that she needs to do something without giving too much away. But very, very interesting game. The ending that I got was a bit somber. If you're familiar with the game, you'll know what ending that is. Depending on the choices that you make, depending on the progress you make through the game. But yeah, it raises a lot of questions, and it will raise a lot of questions that we just don't have answers to right now, because this is an ongoing, ever-changing development that we live in today when it's concerning AI. I've actually pulled a couple articles.
I thought of something before we move into the articles. Yeah. So, okay, as you were talking, I got this image of an eye, and the eye was like exploding or whatever. And I was like, what is that? It's an anime. I think it is Alicization.
Yeah. That the blonde haired guy.
Yeah. Because they're in a simulation, right?
Right.
It's not. It is Alicization, but what is the name of that anime?
Sword Art Online.
Sword Art Online. Yeah, because they're in a simulation, right? And they're like, no, it's the souls of people that have been trapped in this simulation. And it's only been like I don't know, a week or something, but in the simulation, it's been like 300 years.
Right.
And you get to see this whole civilization go like build up and
Yeah,
everything. Really
pretty much.
interesting. But the reason for the eye was that they were programmed to believe something, and then to break that programming, it was like embedded in their eye, the programming or something, and they had to like take the eye out or destroy
it's a
it.
very, very powerful scene.
That was that was crazy. Good show. I like that shit. There's a lot of people who
a lot
put
of people
down that show.
Yeah, a lot of people
it was
like
good.
yeah, they hate on it, but I mean, I like it. I mean, I would want to go back through it again.
Yep.
but
So articles.
yes. So we'll a couple articles. These are from this previous month. So this episode is coming out November 1st. This was within the last week of October. I forget which news source this is from. The title of the article is AI is changing the future of human intimacy, and here's what to know. So this goes on to, again, sentient beings. How far will this go? And how is our social interactions between humans and how are our social interactions between AI evolving through this new technology?
Oh yeah, I can definitely see how it is.
But before we go there, it mentions a term that we've all heard, which is deep fake. And these are videos or images that have been, of course, done by AI, not within the ChatGPT model, by other models that people have programmed or know that programming language to make, in this instance, they refer to a adult image of Taylor Swift that is currently basically deep fake, like that image was never taken. It was just generated by AI, but it looked so real. And the attention that this received, like a lot of like Google, X, like they turned off their search engines so that you could not search Taylor Swift to kind of like prevent like that image from getting out any further. But yeah, it is wild. So let me check here.
How many other people have that happened to though?
Oh, deepfakes. Oh,
but someone only did something about it when it was Taylor Swift.
Well, yeah, because she's an American icon. But yeah, deepfakes that like happen all the time. I mean, probably every day. We just don't hear about it. Yes. So reshaping human relationships. So, quoting here, a 2024 Gen Z report by dating app Hinge, it uncovered revealing trends about modern relationships. The people in this report, their behavioral. Yes, so behavioral science experts found that while an overwhelming 90% of Gen Z Hinge users desire to find love, fear of rejection remains a significant barrier. And in a separate 2024 survey, the dating app also highlighted a striking paradox. Gen Zers deeply crave in-person connections, with 82% reporting feelings of loneliness, yet many confide their search for connection to their phone screens. It's like an addiction almost.
Not like, it is. I mean, what was that? The documentary. There we go. Man, words are hard today. There was a documentary that came out several years ago that was called The Social...
Oh, The Social Dilemma?
Yeah, Social Dilemma. And that talked a lot about it, that your phones are literally designed to be like they are in casinos. It's that same setup that they have. It's the notifications. It's
everybody wants that next hit of dopamine.
Yeah.
And, AI is providing that because just like a drug or whatever, it just tells you what you want to hear. You can curate it to be your best friend almost. which is a bit scary. And they're choosing connections on the phone rather in for people in person in real life because of that fear of rejection. And I get it. Nobody wants to be rejected, but you shouldn't become so reclusive that your only relationship is with the thing in your pocket.
It's so much easier to do that, to have that relationship with your phone, with ChatGPT, with other sites that are out there that I'm sure are going to crop up or are already up for relationships specifically. And I mean, think about it. People are messy. Living life together with another human being is messy. But with an AI, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
They're not messy. They don't bring baggage.
Mhm. They're just there to serve you.
Yeah.
Basically just there to serve you.
Yeah, exactly. So I get it. It is. I can definitely see how it's changing. And I will say there is something to be said about face-to-face communication. Like I'm thinking about, and like it's called emotion regulation. It's particularly noticed, and I wish I had like articles to back this up, but I don't have articles right now. But I've read articles like by really smart people, peer-reviewed articles on this topic of emotion regulation. And you can see it really well with a mom and her baby, or a dad and her baby, either way. But the baby doesn't quite know how to deal with emotions yet. They're still learning. And so if the baby is crying, the mom can come in, or dad can come in, but particularly the mom, because they had that like bond. But it's a human thing too. But mom can come in, and she brings her calm presence, and the baby then is more likely to be calm. They feel that emotional connection. And I mean, kids too. Kids can feel if an adult is apprehensive about being close to kids. I mean, even a little bit. And they're like, "Ooh, I don't know. Do I want to be around you?" Because they can tell if you're not comfortable with kids, and because you're not comfortable, they're not comfortable. And that's emotional regulation. And people can do that too. Just like, Josh, you and I, we can do that. A lot of times when I'm in a bad mood, it puts you in a bad mood. And so
it's a vicious cycle.
It is a vicious cycle. But that is something that AI can't do. I mean, unless they start learning how to put out pheromones or whatever it is that happens with a human-to-human relationship. And that's why I think AI in counseling can only go so far. I think it could be a really helpful tool to like partner with, to do intake sessions, to do some of those things. But I just don't think it will be able to fully take the place of a human counselor, because of that emotion regulation and because of the different responses I think that humans can give, at least right now, over AI. So I don't know. I just find that interesting. So it makes total sense that that relationships are changing. Relationships are changing with the introduction of AI.
Yeah, certainly. And there are a few questions that we must ask ourselves that this article outlines that we'll end with. But before that, there's another article that Rebecca is going to read a few excerpts from, which is AI in the Church, AI in Christianity, and how it might bring you closer to God, as the article suggests.
Yeah, which I can totally see, honestly, because I mean, I've used AI in this way as like a support tool for Bible study and stuff. And it's been fantastic to be able to go through. I mean, I've got 2 shelves of study books that I have that is like a topical Bible and a oh my gosh, all like the dictionary for anyway, all kinds of things, study tools for the Bible, and it's pretty bulky. And what's really nice, and it takes forever. You lose you lose time, sometimes lose interest in seeing, well, is it this one? No, it's not that one. Is it this one? And it just takes a long time.
Hmm.
And if you could ask AI to offer some of that, then that makes it so much faster. I know when I discovered the blue lettered Bible, that was amazing. I love blue letter Bible. If you're not using AI and you want to use like another's tool, the blue letter Bible is fantastic. It offers like commentaries and cross references and like the original Greek, what is it, or Hebrew, depending on Old or New Testament. And so it's a wonderful tool. But I could definitely see how AI would be a huge plus in the Christian community. Yeah. So, okay. So a couple of quotes here from the article about using this as study tools that I thought was really interesting is it talks about AI tools being able to identify patterns, themes, correlations that might be overlooked by human readers. Absolutely. It can pull out and analyze everything that, I mean, things that we haven't even heard of. It can analyze it and put that in there. And it can give greater context to historical context and linguistic nuances. What a big words, right? Linguistic nuances. And then theological implications of scripture. The article also says that, so for instance here, AI algorithms can analyze the frequency of specific words or phrases, helping scholars and lay people alike to uncover deeper meanings and connections within the Bible. Because, I mean, who really wants to count how many times love is in the New Testament? That would take you a very long time. And with AI, it can take a lot shorter time, which is nice. Now, I will say, to argue the other side here, against AI, using this as a study tool is, well, if you're looking through and you're counting all the times it says love in the New Testament, like maybe the Holy Spirit's going to lead you to another passage and that really speaks to your life. So you're missing out on on that opportunity. And I can see how that would be true, potentially. So I think like sometimes using AI and sometimes just doing your own study, I think partnering and mixing it up is really helpful. So using it rather like as a tool rather than just to feed you information. I think there still has to be a level of analyzing and processing within your own mind for you to really grow spiritually. Would you say that's true, Josh?
Yeah, I can get on with both sides. Again, independent study without AI, I feel it's much more intimate. But if you're in in a pinch, if you need additional material or you just need something for quick reference, then AI is great. I think there's something in there called the Christian Companion is what it references.
Yeah, that's the next paragraph, actually. So there's an interactive Bible study platform, quoting here, such as Christian Companion utilize AI to offer dynamic and engaging study experiences. So it's called Christian Companion. The next sentence here, these platforms generate personalized study plans, suggest relevant passages based on individual interests, and even answer theological questions in real time. And I find that last bit interesting. Theological questions.
Right, because
like what?
Yes.
Is it going to offer you what different theologians have said in the past and you figure it out? Does it sum it up? Does it tell you this is what's right? Or Because I
Well,
mean, a lot of these things have been debated for a long time.
Right. I don't think it'll come out and say something like is clear, cut and dry, black and white. This is the right answer. Because in theology, there are many things that are open to interpretation.
Well, I mean, you think about how complicated the Trinity is.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone actually understand it? No, but it is essential in our understanding, theological understanding of Christianity, of the Bible. So surely it would give answers that was like, well, it's generally thought that this person said this person said, and kind of go through that. So I would hope that that's
I think it'll give you, an
goes.
opinion, maybe, but not a dogmatic
as much as
fact.
AI can give you opinion. Yes.
Right. Suggestions also.
Yeah. Suggestions.
There's also a part in there where AI can create, worship music based on a congregation's, different styles and the overall feel. And with Suno AI, which I've experimented with a few months back, giving it, you can write lyrics, you can describe something, and it will put it in like whatever style you want. So my top favorite worship hits are Heaven Galaxy Dance Party and Jesus Got That Riz. That's the two songs that were my worship songs when using Suno.
Yeah. I read that part and I was reminded of is it Hatsumiku?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
right?
the leading generative Vocaloid.
Yeah. And I was like, it just made me laugh to think, is this what's coming to our churches? Is Hatsumiku coming to our churches to lead worship? Is that what the future is of worship?
I would not be opposed if she came to our church, and I would attend.
I mean, I would not personally. I can't stand the Vocaloid stuff. It just isn't as beautiful as a human voice.
If you've never, yes. If you've never seen a Hatsumiku concert, there's a ton of them on YouTube. Thousands and thousands of people with their glow sticks just pack these arenas to see somebody that's essentially not real.
Not real. It's a concert for someone who's not real. I don't quite understand it. But I find it really interesting, this idea of, creating the music. Because, I mean, at what point does human interaction not even matter in our church services? Are we going to let AI preach? Are we going to at what point are we just going to give away all of the creativity and everything? That's a little concerning, I guess. Like, sure, we can partner with AI for music in our services, but like, how much is good? At what point does it become bad? I think pretty quickly with music, it could become bad.
Yeah.
That's it's already a concert, for goodness sake.
Right.
Like, how much more do you want to depersonalize that experience?
Yeah, I think if AI really infiltrated worship music by using Vocaloids, it would take that personal feeling out of it, because I get well up in emotions during worship.
Yeah. There are a lot of people have the opinion that using music to evoke emotions in church services is bad.
No, I don't think that.
Yeah, I see where they're coming from. My stepmom is like that, actually. At one point, we had a conversation about it, and she believes that but she's looking at it from the perspective of it's a fake emotion in a way. That it's like, and not that the emotion itself is fake, just that you're being manipulated. And there's a lot of people too who, even who've gone to Hillsong churches, and other churches like that have been on documentaries talking about feeling they've been manipulated by the music specifically.
I mean, yeah.
And yeah, like I understand that. Like, yeah, we can absolutely use music to manipulate. At the same time, I don't think that's all that wrong, because if music is being used to stir up our emotions in relation to our relationship with God, I don't have a huge problem with that. But I also haven't really been at a church where I have been manipulated by the music. So I might feel differently. I don't know. Tell us, listeners, what is your experience with worship music? What are your thoughts on that? Because I can really see both sides for the music aspect of everything. This really stood out to me. You didn't highlight it, but I did. Because I was like, ooh, I don't know. So the quote here is, AI also plays a significant role in creating engaging educational content for congregations. It can generate sermons, lesson plans, and educational materials tailored to the needs of the congregation by analyzing the interests of and spiritual maturity of church members. My question here, mainly about sermons, is, do we really want this? Do we really want AI to be creating sermons? At what point does a person's faith no longer matter in what's being taught?
Yeah, I think it will go, a bit too far, because if they're analyzing, the spiritual maturity, well, they may just be starting out and they're still drinking the milk, and all you get is just watered down messages.
My problem with this, the very next sentence talks about content that is relevant, engaging, impactful, and addressing the specific needs and interests of the community. These are all good things. That's not bad. However, I'm looking at it. I mean, it's no secret, we go to a Calvary chapel, and Calvary chapels, I don't know if they're all like this, but I know our church is like this, where we literally take a book of the Bible and go verse by verse through the whole book. And I just believe that all scripture is relevant. And honestly, when you get the greater context, it's all engaging and it's all impactful and it addresses the specific needs and interests of the community, because it's building up and encouraging the community at large with everything that's in it. It's all what is it in 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, something about all scripture is it can be used for teaching and preaching.
And you're correct on that. But what I think is coming at is from maybe a topical stance.
Right. And that's where I have a little bit of a problem. Sometimes topical sermons are good. I think we need them. And they help a lot of people. And they're excellent. There's a lot of people who go to, I would say the majority of churches are topical sermons each Sunday.
That's what grabs the masses, really.
Right. And I don't think that's wrong by any means, because you are still getting the word. But I think there's a deeper connection with scripture that's being missed when we have topical only sermons. I think how does it fit into the rest of the scripture? Because then at that point, you're just getting a motivational message and you turn into Joel Osteen church, where it's like, are we actually learning anything? Are we actually, I don't know. Yeah, this article is really interesting. So definitely go through and read it. It talks a little later about ethical implications of everything.
Yeah, and we'll have the links to both of these articles down in the
in case
description.
You're interested, because I know we're running out of time, but the ethical things with AI is really, really important too.
And as we're wrapping up, we had all these questions and things to think about. Most importantly, though, what are the ethical and spiritual implications that AI brings along with it? How do we consent to not being having our image or our likeness and put it into a deep fake, or how do we also maintain that personable experience when AI is introduced into the church? And it may already be within a lot of churches. And then also human interaction. Do you value your real life human to human connections, or do you find that it gives you such anxiety that you would rather have the relationship with an autonomous humanoid? And we want to talk about all this because it's important. Whether you just use ChatGPT or using any other AI or machine learning technologies, it does have implications for you, for your family, and for the world around us. I don't want to end it on a somber note, but that's kind of where we're landing. But again, we have hope. There is encouragement. We know he's always in control. So until next time, keep those halos shiny and stay holy, my friends.